Next, we're going to talk about how you sew a button on. First off, we're going to lower the feed dogs in the behind the machine. So slide off the table if that's on, reach behind the machine and slide the lever all the way towards the inside of the machine, so to the right, and then that way they will lower down. This is so we can do a zigzag, but not have the stitch move forward, and we want to just hit those holes just as precise as ever. And then you can also take your stitch length down to 0, but those feed dogs still will come up and tap the bottom of the button, and I'm not a fan of that, so that's why I like to actually lower the feed dogs. Next, select stitch number 04. And most buttons are, or I should say the eyes, are approximately between 3 and 4 millimeters. So if you look at your screen, right now it comes up at 3.5. All you have to do is put the foot on, and then we'll test the swing of the needle. So this is your button sew on foot, has the 2 blue grips out here on the side. So I actually lift the foot up usually a little bit, just force it up, it'll come up, and then lower that down onto the bar, hold it in place. Once you hear the click, you're in, and then all we need to do is place the button underneath the little grips. Now, right now the needle's hanging over there on the right side, so I'm going to make sure that the needle's coming down on the right side first and test the swing of the needle to the left side. So that's the one time I don't use this needle up, needle down button, because I want to make sure that it actually is going to drop in the hole and not break my needle. Once I'm here, I can just go ahead and stitch back and forth. You can do 8 or 9 times, and then just go ahead, bring your needle up. And to secure it, you can use some fray check and touch a little of the glue of the clear drying liquid on the threads. And then you can also take these threads, pull them to the back side. If you give them a little tug, especially on the one you just did, and you can pull that top thread to the back, and then just give it a little tie off here. Here we go, get that. Sometimes it might take a little, sometimes I'll use a little seam ripper to help pull that thread. Here comes the loop. That's one of the top threads. And then just tie a little knot back here. That will secure it as well. 2 or 3 little knots will hold it just right. And again, that fray check is a great little tip. Then you won't have to be sewing on any buttons actually, unless you're doing it for a specific project. And then just clip those nice. And there's probably one still over. That's the one we started with. So just cut that nice and close, and that will be just perfect.